Welcome everyone to today's Ninja Skill Booster, Mastering Microsoft Teams. If you haven't met me before, my name is Ninja Matt or Matt Cowdroy. If you're new to our Think Productive family, welcome to the family. We've also got Ninja Julie with us here today. He'll just say a quick hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Julie. Thanks for being with us. I would like to start today's session with an acknowledgement of country, the country that we're all coming from today, including Edmonton, Canada, acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we're all coming from. I'm coming from Guringai land, or the northern beaches of Sydney, and acknowledging the traditional owners here, past and present. I like to think about that and the education that we do and the storytelling, because this has been done on these lands for tens of thousands of years. So it's nice to be able to continue that momentum as we share together. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us. Lots of people with us today. I love this to be interactive. We will use the chat occasionally. If you haven't come across our Think Productive business before, this is what we're all about. A work revolution where everyone loves Mondays. So we were originally founded by Graham Alcott, who wrote Productivity Ninja book. Graham's based in the UK. I came across Graham's work about 10 years ago and started the business here in kind of partnership with him or in license with him. So yeah, we've been here, Ninja Julie and myself have been in here for 10 years now or more, and Ninja Gavin and some of our other ninjas. And we absolutely love what we do, what we're all about, helping you love your work. So today, I'd love you to put in the chat, what do you feel when you think about Microsoft Teams? I'm really curious to hear what comes up for you. Panic. Yes, I hear that one quite often. Communication, too many messages, overwhelming. Work. It's better than Zoom. Okay, so it's not all bad. Thank you. Pop-ups, love it, but just starting the journey, a bit overwhelmed, too many conversations, collaboration. So yeah, there's a lot of positive aspects, and what I'm seeing more here is a bit of overwhelm, stress. So by learning some better ways to use Teams, by embracing this, we can get to move towards more of those positive comments. So thank you for all your comments there. Beautiful. If used correctly, it can be a great addition. Absolutely. So today we're going to look at Microsoft and Teams. I'm going to start with a quick introduction to how Teams fits in with SharePoint and OneDrive, but just briefly, and then we'll get into the Teams specifically. We'll look at the top 5 tips and more. Got extra stuff to share as we go. I'm sure other stuff will come up during the session. And our Ninja family giveaway at the end. So we always like to give away some gifts for coming along today. So let's get started with looking at Microsoft and Teams. We all hear these words, SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, all the other Microsoft tools that are available. Teams is just one part of this ecosystem, if you like. Some of these slides are from our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas workshop. SharePoint is where everything's saved, basically. SharePoint's like the big filing cabinet. SharePoint can also serve the purpose of being your intranet. OneDrive gives us access to SharePoint through our file explorer. We can set that up and make that nice and easy. OneDrive also provides us with a personal storage space within your business Microsoft account. So you get a space there to store your personal things. OneDrive's also backing up your desktop and your documents folders, which is nice to know. But Microsoft Teams is what we're focusing on today. Microsoft Teams sits across all this and gives us opportunities to collaborate, opportunities to share, opportunities to communicate. Such an important part of business and life. So let's just have a quick look at the structure of Teams. So as you would know, layer 1, as we call it, is the team. So the team is designed to bring a group of people together in one place. The team. So we always start here at the top level, if you like. Within the teams are channels. You already know this, but we're just setting the scene here, right? Within the team, we have all the different channels. The channels are designed to be for a specific project or a specific group of people. And every channel has every team has a general channel to start with, and then we can add whatever we like as more and more channels. So this enables our communication to get more targeted. Layer 3, so once we've set up our teams and our channels, layer 3 is tabs. So I'll get you to be doing a little bit of looking at your Microsoft Teams today. If you have a look at your Microsoft Teams in one of those channels, you'll see you've got across the top posts and files, and then the plus button. The plus button enables us to add more tabs. Tabs gives us a lot more functionality, a lot more options within each channel. Okay, I hope that's all making sense so far. When we look at adding tabs, we can add all sorts of things in here. One of the key things we add are documents or spreadsheets. This is a really nice tip that's not one of our top 5 tips, but because we're not there yet, you can add here a document or a Word or a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint that you use regularly. And then that will show up as a tab like a web browser. And you can just click on that anytime and see the document or see the spreadsheet without having to go and open it up in a separate app or something like that. So that's a really nice use of tabs. Something you might also want to look at in the use of tabs is Microsoft Lists. Microsoft Lists is another Microsoft tool that you can have as a tab in your channel. I hope you're keeping up with me on this jargon and I'm not mixing up the words. You can have Microsoft Lists in a tab and you can create in lists. There's all sorts of templates available, and lists can be a really nice, simple sort of checklist that you could be using within your channel. And you can create lists for anything, checklists, ticking things off, collaboration. Everyone in the team can contribute there. So it's a good idea to have a look at that as well. Planner, there's a question that's just come up. Do lists flow into Planner? Not specifically, Linda, but I think if you assign something to someone in a list, it might pop up as a task in Planner. That would just need to be tested because lists and Planner are two separate apps. So we just need to test that one. Are there any other questions as before I get into our top 5 tips for this morning? We'll just sort of set the scene there as to how Teams is structured. Yeah. To-do checklist for Teams. Yeah, nice. You don't have a lists option. You'll have to search for that when you go into that plus. When you press the plus button, Karen, you'll find it in there. If you can't find it, get in touch with me after today's session and I'll help you out with that. So we are going to talk about Microsoft To-Do and Microsoft Planner today. They're 2 separate apps as well, separate to Microsoft Lists. So let's get into our top 5 tips for today. So these tips are specifically designed to just help you with your everyday Microsoft Teams usage. And I recommend that you have a look as we go. I'll give you time to go and have a look at your Teams and just see this live. It'll help it sink in for you. So tip 1, the history menu or the history button. There's little graphics here that sort of relate to what we're doing here as well. So the history menu allows us to look at where we were in Teams. It's a backward and forward button like the history button in a browser, in our Chrome browser or our Edge or Safari. So back and forward buttons at the top next to search. Because quite often we think, oh, where did I see that message? Or where was I? Where was I looking at that chat? Or we get a call, we need to go and look at something else and we forget where we were. So this history button's gold. I only discovered this about a month ago, this history button. It's beautiful. It really does help a lot. The other thing is if you hover over the back arrow rather than click on it, it gives you a list of recent locations. So you can go straight to the place you were 5 or 6 ago without having to go click, 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 click. And if you click the arrows, you can move backwards and forwards, right? So that's tip 1, the history menu. Enables us to remember where we were, enables us to go and find things that we might have lost otherwise. I'm curious, could you please put in the chat, yes, if you knew the history menu already existed, or no, if you didn't know that? Thanks, Tracy. You've beaten me to the punch there. Just a bit of a, yeah, look at all these no's. Okay. I'm going to say that's about a 90% no's. Okay, good. We're sharing some good information for you there. Nice, nice, nice. Tip number 2, sending urgent messages. Now, this one is a great way to annoy your colleagues. So you've got to use this one sparingly, okay? Sending urgent messages. We send a lot of messages. We send a lot of chats. What if it actually is urgent? What if we really, really, really need the person to see this one? Different to marking it as important, because you'll see what happens here. When we do this, the user or the receiver gets an alert every 2 minutes until they look at your message. So it keeps reminding them, you've got an urgent message, you've got an urgent message. This is pretty cool. So to do this, yeah, ouch. So we need to use this one very sparingly, Sylvia. To do this, before sending your message, you can do this now. Have a look at the plus icon that sits at the bottom of your message. Oh, your organization's blocked that. Okay. Have a look. There's a plus icon there. Click on delivery options, and that's where you choose urgent. So the way you find this, click on that plus button, delivery option, urgent. Interesting, Rena. Thank you saying that your organization has blocked this. Yeah, that's I'm curious about that. Then hit send. Your message will appear with a red header and a desktop alert. Yeah. Someone else here saying, thank you, Vivian. Same with us, urgent is blocked. So you might not all have this feature, which is not a bad idea. Okay. Tip number 3. Use the meeting recap with transcripts, transcriptions, recordings, and loop. Quite a lot in this tip. The key thing about this tip is the recording of Teams meetings with a transcript and what that does for us, how that helps us. And I'll explain what Loop's all about. So a live transcript, so if you're having your Teams meetings and you've turned on transcript and recording, this makes the meeting more accessible because people can read as we go, people can search. But I like this idea as well. It helps latecomers get up to speed quickly. So if someone's late to your meeting and you've already started, they can come and they can have a quick read of the transcription live whilst the meeting's happening, rather than having to bring them up to speed. It also makes our meetings searchable. So if the transcription's there, we can search later, which is helpful. Before I talk about Loop, I'll just pause here for a sec. These functions are only available in Microsoft Teams. In the calendar in Microsoft Teams is where you go back to the meeting to see the transcript and the recording, or in the new version of Outlook in the calendar there. If you're using the classic desktop Outlook and you go back to a meeting from the past, you won't be able to see the recordings and the transcriptions. So if you're often wondering, why can't I see this recording? Or where did this go? It's because you're looking at it through Outlook. Now I'm using the classic desktop still for Outlook. So to access my meeting recordings and transcriptions, I just access the calendar through Teams. Is that all making sense? Just put a yes in the chat for me if that makes sense. You can still be using the desktop version of Outlook. That's great, fine, but you just won't be able to use it to go back and look at meeting recordings and transcriptions. Okay, great. Hope you guys are finding this useful. Thank you for sharing some of your Wednesday morning with us. Now, Loop, Microsoft Loop, is a separate piece of software. It's a separate Microsoft tool, if you like. Microsoft Loop will integrate into our meetings. It will integrate into a Teams post if you want it to. Loop is another tool for collaborating. This can get quite overwhelming, and I'll be very transparent here. When I first saw Loop, I thought, this is just another collaboration tool. Like, why would we want that? Aren't we already confused enough with Microsoft Teams? But the thing about Loop is it's like an octopus with its, what are they, tentacles? No, what are octopus arms? Julie will correct me on that. Going into all the different tools, right? So Loop will go into the calendar. Loop will go into Teams meetings. Loop will go even into Teams posts. Loop is a place to keep comments up to date. It's actually a really interesting tool. So I just recommend maybe have a look at Microsoft Loop. The thing about Microsoft Loop is you can add loop notes into your meetings. And that means everyone can comment on there and everyone can see that. And you can also access all your comments, all your loop notes in your loop. So, yeah, where do you find Microsoft Loop? Just go to Microsoft 365, or when you're doing a Teams post, or if you open up a meeting invite, it should have an element at the bottom that says add a Microsoft Loop. Add a Microsoft Loop. That would be what it says, or add a loop comment. So you'll see it there. Otherwise, just go through your office.com, through your Microsoft 365, and you'll find Loop there. Loop, L-O-O-P. Yeah, some good questions there. Thank you. Just started using it, Maria, and it's great. Yeah, Loop is an interesting one. At one stage, I thought it was going to replace OneNote, but it's different to OneNote. It's more like another collaboration tool that's working with all the other tools. Okay, but this session's not about Microsoft Loop, but there's a bonus little tip for you there. Tip number 4, and I'm going to summarize all these tips at the end. Tip number 4, and someone did ask, will I share these slides? We won't share the slides, but we do share the recording. So you can always look through the recording. The magic slash, and famous guitarist, I think, the magic slash and keyboard shortcuts. So the slash command is a really handy shortcut. You use it in the search bar. So if you go now to your search bar and put a backslash in there, it will bring up options for you. It enables you to type a word. You can do things like change your status. You can even start a chat or make a call, and that the options will come up there. All you need to do to use this is put a slash in the search bar and it starts. Like slash chat, people's names will pop up. You can choose the name and send them a chat straight from the search bar. Yeah. Oh my God, Katie. Did anyone know about the slash? Please put yes or no in the chat. The slash is very cool. You can use it to change your status. You can change your status to busy or free or available or in a call. Wow, look at all these no's. Once you get used to using the slash, you'll never go back. Right, I'm glad this is valuable for you. Carleen, yes, I love it. Okay, good. So we've got a user who loves it. That's great. Also, in addition to this slash command, there are other keyboard shortcuts you can use. So if you're a mouse warrior like Renee, you might not use this, but there are other keyboard shortcuts. So if you press Control and period or Control and full stop, you'll see on the screen other keyboard shortcuts that are available to you. So you have a look at that now, Control and a period. All these different keyboard shortcuts you can use. So if you are a keyboard shortcut person, get in there, have a look at those. I mean, I don't find the keyboard shortcuts as useful, but I find the slash very useful. So that's tip number 4. I've got a new toy, says Nicolette. Nice. Start using the slash. Tip number 5, everyone. If you're using Microsoft To Do or Planner, this tip's valid for you or relevant for you. If you've done our Ninja training or our 6 Weeks to Ninja, you will have come across our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas. You will have come across our strong passion for Microsoft To Do. Microsoft To Do is a digital to-do list that'll save all your to-dos in one place for you. The beautiful thing here is if you are using Microsoft To Do or Planner, because they integrate, you can save a chat or a post directly to Microsoft To Do as a reminder that here's something I need to do. Because how often do you see a chat or a post and you think, oh yeah, I'll come back to that. And in 10 minutes time, you can't find it again, right? Well, you've got the history button now. The history button might help, but this is even better, okay? To do this, so let's keep on top of our posts and chats. So you can save any post or chat in there. To do this, you look for the 3 dots. You can see it on the image here. You look for the 3 dots that are next to the post or the chat. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right for you. because we didn't put specific instructions here. Yes, you look for the 3 dots. Let me just find one here. Yes, and on the 3 dots, you can see it on the image. Once you've clicked on the 3 dots, you have create planner task. So you have to go more actions, create planner task. So there's a little bit of a trick here because it doesn't say anything about Microsoft To Do. So if you're seeing the planner task, and you think, where's the option to save it to Microsoft To Do? Just click on Create Planner Task. All right. So thanks, Katie. Is there any way to maximize the thumbnail that's displaying the text and static graphic so big the active screen isn't clear? Okay. No, sorry, Katie. It's just one image. The clear instruction is go to the chat, click on the 3 dots. The 3 dots will be next to an existing chat. It won't be next to a new chat. So just make sure you find an existing chat and find that there. I can go back and show you some of this at the end, all right, when we stop the recording. So they're the 5 tips. Number 5 might not be so great if you're not using To Do or Planner, but if you are, beautiful. And make sure you go to the more actions. Yeah, thanks, Tahu. You've got to go to more actions if you don't see it straight away. Okay. I want to give you one more bonus tip, but I'll do this after we select our favorite from the top 5. So I'm curious to hear from you all. Which of the top 5 tips do you love the most? Which of the top 5 tips do you love the most? And I'll come back to these after the session, once we stop the recording, for everyone that's got questions. I can see all sorts of slashes going on in there. But which of these 5, just put a number in the chat for me. 1, 2, 3, or 5. Which one of these is your favorite? I'm very curious because this will give us some data so we know what people are finding most useful. Great. I will come back and look at this. Thank you. Should have done a poll for this one. Should have been a bit more ninja on this one. Thank you. Thank you. So as I say, what I want to do now in the interest of everyone's time, because we do make sure we fit these sessions into 30 minutes for you, is just do a little wrap up. Wow, Fiona, you've ranked them. Beautiful. Well, just do a little wrap up for you here. Then I'll stop the recording and we can keep chatting. I can keep demonstrating things for you. So a little wrap up. In Ninja News, don't forget we've always got a giveaway at the end as well, so stay online. In Ninja News, our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas workshop is going hot. People are just loving this. It's such a practical session. So have a look at that one on our website if you're interested in running that in-house. Other new workshops that we've launched in the sort of 3 to 6 months, Thriving Teams in Tricky Times and Cracking the Engagement Puzzle. These are 2 beautiful workshops that really get into culture and how to build this better, how to do a better job of the leadership around this space. So if you're interested in any of these, we can run these in-house for you. And we've also got our next 6 weeks to Ninja coming up, starting on the 1st of May. So this is one of my favorite programs because it enables us to spend 6 weeks with everyone, 2 hours a week, and go really deep, get really personal, ask a lot of questions, and really get a beautiful productivity system set up and productivity mindset. If it's not in-house workshops you're looking for, we do run these as public. So the 6 weeks to Ninja is a public workshop. So you can just register for tickets to that. I'll put some links in the chat for you in a sec. We've also got Getting Your Inbox to Zero coming up. And I've got a giveaway for that. So thank you everyone for coming along. I'm just going to stop the recording now and do the giveaway and answer any more questions.